Gym 101 is a tradition around here that Dee Dee started. It was originally designed to be more an instructional thing, an educational piece to a fan base that at that time, we were trying to grow, and it used to happen in the gym. And about, I guess, 9 years ago, I made the suggestion to Dee Dee that we try to move that to the PMAC to get ourselves some experience in the competition arena. We don't get to practice in our competition environment throughout the year, so that requires some adjustment, like it would for any athletic team. Just a different space, and the tallness of the ceiling, the surfaces are not as controlled. We land on hard surfaces in there, so it just gives us a chance to kind of go through a run through, albeit not fully what we would do in a competition, but it gets them in front of fans and gets them accustomed to those landing surfaces a little bit. And it's an opportunity for our fans to see us and try to create a little bit of buzz before we head into the holiday break, before our season begins January 7th. It's a big piece for us. It's something that is vitally important to our preparation as we get ready for January 7th. And so the more people can be there, the better. I just sent a letter out to all of our season ticket holders, and we're very close to setting a new record on season tickets this year. That should be broken sometime this week, and we should go over the 7,000 mark in season ticket holders. And so it's an exciting time for us, and as many of those people that we can get into the PMAC on Friday night to kind of get a sneak peek of what they're going to see when we begin the season, it's very important to our kids to have a good environment in that.
It is might be the biggest crowd some of your younger gymnasts have performed in front of at home or at all, right?
In the past we've had 3,000, 3,500. I'd love to see 5,000 or 6,000 people show up in here Friday night just to catch a glimpse of us. If the weather's nice and they can get the family out, I think it'd be awesome. But yeah, for a lot of our kids, last year's freshman class did not get to experience what a packed PMAC feels like. So it'll be a big difference. They'll have more at 101 than they had last year during the season when we were limited to about 1,700 or 1,800.
You talk about freshmen. Last 2 years, Kaya Johnson, Haley Bryant. Is there another freshman we should expect to just stand out this year?
Well, I think we have a great freshman class. With all of them come in with a vast experience. They all came in post spring surgeries too, so they showed up a little bit behind where we'd like them to be. I think the headliner that everybody hears about mostly is Aaliyah Finnegan, the little sister of Sarah. That's probably the last time you're going to hear me make that reference, because she's made it clear to us this is about Aaliyah Finnegan's time, not about her sisters. But full of personality. You'll see some similarities in their gymnastics. Aaliyah's vastly talented young woman, but has a much more gregarious and I would say outgoing. I would say that Sarah was one of the more kind people I've ever been around, but she wasn't overly talkative around her teammates. Aaliyah's a little different that way. She's a little more engaging and got a lot more juice to her voice, I guess is the best way to put it. Tori Tatum's a former national team member that has come in after an injury that we probably will bring along a little more slowly this year. And then KJ Johnson, Caitlin Johnson will contribute mightily on the leg events for us this year, vault and floor. And so we're excited about them, but we're also excited about getting everybody back that we had last year. So it's an interesting group. It's been an interesting fall for a lot of reasons. But the biggest thing is it's a whole lot better because we know that we're going to be able to compete in front of people, and I think the motivation is really there for them to do well.
Now, how do you prep the sophomores and the freshmen that are coming in now for an environment they haven't experienced before?
Yeah, you don't. I mean, you talk about it. We've talked about the environment here and how special it is when we've got a full house, and it's unique. I think, Utah comes the closest to right now to having that kind of an intimidating environment that we've had here in the past in the PMAC. So we talk to them about it and try to get them to understand it. I walk them through it when they're recruits, when they come on campus, when I walk them in this building, and kind of try to paint the picture for them as best as I can verbally. But there's really no substitute for going out there the first time. And that's why I hope, this weekend at 101, the more we can have, the closer we get to that feeling, they can kind of experience that, let the hair stand up on the back of their neck a little bit, and enjoy that a little bit, so that it's not such a shock when we come back in January 7th.
Did it take you a while to get over the way last year ended?
It did. I mean, it stung for sure. I don't think. Here's the thing about the way the format is now, and it changed. This will be our 3rd year in this format. Making the NCAA semifinals is effectively the equivalent of what the Super Six used to be, because we've taken what used to be 6 regional sites, condensed it into 4, and you got a 2-day format there. So you've taken the best teams that are at the top, putting them in a smaller, into smaller groupings, and so it's more concentrated. And so getting out of it's a literal meat grinder to get out of regionals now and make it to the NCAA semifinals and get into the final 8. So that took a lot out of us, and I think the startle that they experienced with Sammy getting hurt on the last bar routine and that rotation that we had, they didn't handle it well, and so we went to Beam and just were subpar from what we had been all year long. Yet we put up a score that would have beaten one of the teams that made it out of the other session, and so I was proud of how they competed. For the first 3 events of that meet, we were leading, and but at the same time, we do have a bad taste in our mouth about the way it ended. We try not to live in the past. We've dealt with it. We've talked about it. We don't make a lot of reference to it. The old rearview mirror and windshield analogy has been used, and we're going to keep our eyes moving forward. We think we certainly know there's lessons to be learned, and we've tried to take those and integrate them into what we've done all fall in the way we've trained, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it pays off. I think this team will pace a little differently than last year's, just by sheer physical limitations that we had in the fall coming in. We had a lot of off-season, and like I mentioned to the freshmen coming in and having surgery, we had several of those sort of maintenance, what I call maintenance surgery, scopes and things that kind of set us back a little bit physically. They didn't do a lot over the summer. So I think we'll start well enough, and I think hopefully we'll pace them correctly and be able to finish in a much stronger place mentally than we were last year.
Did you have any doubt about your 5 seniors coming back for one last ride?
I didn't lean on them too hard. I asked them periodically if they knew what their plans were. I made sure that they knew that we wanted them back. If they wanted to do this again, their bodies are hurting. At this stage of the game in our sport, your body, there's a lot of tread wear on their tires, and I say that a lot, but it's the truth. So, Bridget will be relegated to 1 event this year on balance beam. Reagan was pretty much relegated that way anyway because of her back, and she'll be on balance beam. Christina's still doing 2, and Sammy's still doing 3, although she had a little shoulder thing that happened just before the Thanksgiving break. So, we try to limit their numbers a little bit, but I didn't have to beg them. They were excited to do it, and I think part of what that is due to your last question, which was they did have a little bad taste in their mouth, and they do want to be able to do it again, and they really want to show that that's not who they are in those pressure moments.
How has the first few months of the NIL deals really affected your team?
Well, we've got probably the most widely known collegiate athlete in America in terms of NIL. Olivia Dunn has her social media presence is unique, and it's been interesting to see how that is so marketable in this world of NIL now, and all of our young women have gotten NIL deals. I think LSU's done an amazing job of educating our kids about how to go about it. I think that we've done a great job of creating awareness for our student athletes here at LSU. It really has not affected much of what we're doing. I do know that Olivia gets overwhelmed sometimes with her schedule and the things that go along just with being a student athlete is a full-time job, and now you've got an agent or whoever it is that is barking at her to get certain things done contractually. it's different. It's, as you know, we can't be involved in it. There's very little that I have knowledge of in terms of the deals that they've gotten. They've gone out and done it on their own. The good thing is that I've watched them take care of each other. When they've gotten NIL deals, they've tried to include their teammates, including Olivia Dunn. There's certain deals that she wouldn't sign unless her teammates got a care package and things of that nature, and that's really what you want. You want a sharing and giving outlook, because we have kids on our team that are here on their own dime, that don't come from financially well-off families, and when they can get something here locally and those kinds of things, it's incredibly beneficial. And so I think our team has done a great job of including everybody on their team where they can, and trying to get them into some of the local deals that can help everybody out, even no matter how small it may seem or insignificant. Our team has done a good job of separating it from each other when it needs to be separated, but including each other when it needs to be included, and we really haven't seen anything like any kind of jealousy or internal strife that's gone on competitively about that whatsoever.
You have 20 gymnasts?
Yeah.
Is that right?
20.
Wow. That's a lot of people to try to get in the line.
Yeah.
You get 24 routines.
Yeah.
And a couple of all-rounders. How do you plan to make all that work? And is there anyone of that 20 who you expect won't compete or not compete, perform Friday night?
That won't go Friday night? Well, 20 is a lot, but it's only a lot because we compare it to past squads. In theory, you could put 24 different athletes out there if they all were really. Now, I don't know that we'll ever get to a place where but I do know that increasingly our sport has become a sport where you see specialists when you're recruiting. I'm a big advocate that we need an increase in scholarships from 12 to 14. We've not seen an increase since 1995. There are teams out there carrying 25, 28 kids on a team right now. There are a lot that when we last had an increase in scholarships in 95, there were roughly 1,000 or so level 10 junior Olympic, what you would consider collegiate caliber, potentially collegiate caliber athletes. That has gone up 400% in that period of time, where was roughly over 4,000 of them out there. So there's not enough opportunities for the athletes that are out there. So I think you're seeing increased squad sizes all the way around. That and the COVID extra year have contributed to that. As far as keeping everybody happy and the mouths to feed, our seniors from last year have been specialists pretty much their entire career. There's not an all-arounder in the bunch, and so I think it's just for us. It was a great sort of insurance policy from a depth perspective, that they're still able to come back, and we were able to bring these freshmen in, and thank God, because the freshmen didn't show up healthy. So it allowed us to. I don't find that it's been difficult to manage by any means, and I could foresee a time where our squad size will continue to grow, and I think it should grow nationally. If we're going to remain relevant, we've got a lot of momentum going as a sport right now, and with television and everything else, I think increased opportunities is good in our sport for a lot of reasons, because we have the highest injury rate of any sport except for football. There are opportunities for increased numbers all over the place, not to mention that it helps with Title IX. So I think that we need to continue to grow our squad sizes, and coaches need to embrace that and not try to keep their squad size so small. As far as who will go and who won't Friday night, we do have some injuries. Kaya Johnson will not do floor. It's going to be a similar situation to what we had last year, where we've got to manage her Achilles. It's the same situation we were dealing with before. It's a chronic deal with that Achilles, and so we've got to be very careful. She will probably vault, do bars, and do beam. We will probably not throw all of our 10-0 vaults, so if fans get there and we don't do them all, that doesn't mean we won't be doing them in the season. Nobody needs to sound the alarms that we don't have the horses to compete. I can assure you that we do. Yeah, and yeah, that's what I hear. And but I think I don't think we'll see Olivia Dunn. She's right now she got tested positive for the flu. The flu is back, and back in a big way. It disappeared on us for a couple of years, but it is back. And before we went on the break, we had 11 kids out with some version of the flu that was going through campus. So it's not COVID. So we don't have anybody on our team right now that's got anything going on with that. But I don't think Olivia will go, and I'll be surprised if Bridget Dean goes as well for the same reason. She's had the flu.
Have to ask you the obligatory. What do you think about Brian Kelly hire?
I think it's a great hire. I think it's something that I had wondered for several months. Yeah, ever since the announcement that Coach O would not be back, I had wondered why his name had not surfaced for a litany of reasons. I think it's a great hire. I'm excited about it. I heard that Coach Mulkey already invited him to her game, so I'm going to do the same. I'd love to have him at 101, and because he's never been at a gymnastics school, and LSU is rapidly becoming a school that's not defined by one sport. That we're in a place where, with the cast of coaches that are here, it's a unique situation where we've got an opportunity to have all of our sports fill up their arenas, win championships, and do great things. And so I'd love to meet him. Love to let him know where gymnastics is on the pecking order around here. And I'm kidding. No, but I think it's a great hire. I'm excited about it.
What advice do you have for him?
Embrace the culture. I'm from the South, and even though I'm from the South, when I moved to Louisiana, it was different. And I think just embracing the culture, embracing the people, they will embrace you. When you do that, it makes no difference, and that includes the food and everything that goes with it. It's a unique situation that we have here. Our fans are more ardent and more passionate about this institution and the teams here than they are anywhere else in the SEC. And I've worked at one of those institutions for a long time, and I have visited them all on Saturday game days. And he's walking into a place that has great expectation, but also has great resource and great support for what he's doing. And I would just say embrace every bit of it and come in here and make it yours.
And on a more gymnastics-related note, not having Kaya Johnson on the floor, how do you replace that?
You don't. You absolutely do not. I think the goal is to have her when we need her. And so if we had to push her right now, we could do that. But we don't know if right now there's no sense in taking undue risk on something that you have awareness. You know it's there. You know it's hurting. Those things can go in a moment's notice if you don't manage them. And they might go even if we do manage it. There's no magic pill that prevents injuries. But under the circumstances, there's no way I'm going to risk Kaya Johnson's health over a practice in the PMAC. She knows how to compete, and she doesn't need a whole lot of training and a whole lot of numbers. She's an unusual athlete from that perspective. She doesn't lose timing. She has to be told that she doesn't lose it because her tendency is to want to work and to want to do more. And we have to pull back on her. It's our job to protect her against herself right now. And so I don't think she'll do floor probably till midway through the season. That would be my goal, is to reintroduce that event as we go. But she's far too important on every event for us to risk something that's going to gain us a 10th really in the grand scheme of things this early right now. So you don't replace her. There's no way. I think Aaliyah Finnegan is beginning to turn the corner on floor. She started slow coming out of her push for Olympic trials, and I think she'll go a long way towards that. But hey, Alona Shenikova, I told everybody last year was coming along, and she did. And I think she steps into an even greater leadership role this year. Haley Bryan is what Haley Bryan is, but we're going to need that second 1-2 punch on every event, and I think Alona can step into that too. Yeah, we had the opportunity to be honored at the Musial Awards in St. Louis, which turned out to be one of the neatest things I've ever been a part of. And I don't know if everybody really knows what those awards are centered around, because I didn't. I had heard of them, but I didn't really understand. It is sportsmanship and random acts of kindness that happen within the sports arena. And the stories and the people that we were able to be honored alongside, and the cast of things that happened there were, it was amazing. There wasn't a dry eye in the place, and it was in the Stifle Theater, I think was the name of it. I may be saying that wrong. It's a historic theater there. There was probably 4,000 or 5,000 people there. It was a red carpet affair. It was just a really neat event, and we were honored because someone picked up on Twitter at Nationals last year that we had Shea Campbell from UCLA rotating with us as an individual because UCLA did not qualify to the Final Eight. And so our team embraced her, learned her floor routine, and it got caught on camera, them having a good time together and putting the stick crown on her head after she did her floor routine, and really brought her in sort of as an honorary Tiger that day. And it was an organic thing that our team did on their own because that's just the character that they possess. And it got noticed, and somehow it went viral, and their committee saw it. And so we got up there and were honored for that. And Shea flew in to present us with the award. And we were there with Wayne Gretzky and Bryce Harper, and a lot of big name people were being honored. It was just really neat to be a part of that. And in retrospect, if I had known how big a deal it was, I probably would have taken the entire team. We took Haley and Kaya up there with us, and it was just a great experience that they thoroughly enjoyed. All right. Thank y'all.